The IGNOU MAMIDI Project, course code MDIP001, is a compulsory 8-credit project work course that sits in semester 4 of the Master of Arts in Migration and Diaspora. It is your own piece of empirical research on a migration or diaspora question, completed under an approved supervisor and submitted to IGNOU as a bound project report. Welcome to Shri Chakradhar Education. I am BK Sahni, founder of IGNOUproject.com, and I have guided IGNOU students since 2010. This is the complete research-backed guide to the IGNOU MAMIDI project for MDIP 001. Here is what this video covers: what MAMIDI and MDIP 001 actually are, where the project sits in your course structure, 5 myths that get proposals rejected, how to choose a researchable migration topic, the methods that suit this field, the full report structure, submission, Viva, evaluation, and whether this degree is worth your time. Let us begin with the program itself. MAMIDI is the Master of Arts in Migration and Diaspora, offered by the School of Interdisciplinary and Trans-Disciplinary Studies, which IGNOU abbreviates as SOITS. According to the official IGNOU program page, MAMIDI is an 80-credit modular program covering both theoretical and project work. Its stated purpose is to build knowledge and understanding of migration and diaspora, and of their socio-cultural, economic, and political engagement with home and host countries. Here are the program facts at a glance. 80 credits, 4 semesters. Eligibility is a bachelor degree in any discipline from a recognized university. The medium is English. The minimum duration is 24 months and the maximum is 48 months. The fee is 7,000 rupees per year, plus registration and development fees as applicable. One practical note: the official page records that this program is not offered to international students and that examination fees are not included in the fee structure. Always confirm the current figures in the common prospectus on ignou.ac.in before you plan your budget. Now the part most students search for. Where exactly does the project sit? Semester 1 carries 5 theory courses. MDI 001, Migration and Diaspora, Theory and Methodology. MDI 002, Transnationalism, Diaspora and Citizenship. MDI 003, Global Diasporas, Case Studies. MDI 004, Indian Diaspora, an Overview. And MDI 005, Indian Diaspora, Politico-Economic and Policy Aspects. Each of these carries 4 credits. Semester 2 brings MDI 006, Indian Diaspora, Socio-Cultural Facets, along with the elective pool. That pool includes MDIE 001, Gender and Diaspora, MDIE 002, Diasporas in India, MPSE 001, India and the World, MPA 033, Introduction to Disaster Management, and MPSE 005, State and Society in Africa. Semester 3 is where your project quietly begins. It carries MSO 002, Research Methodologies and Methods, an 8-credit course. Alongside it sit MDI 007, Theories of Labor and Labor Markets, MDI 008, Production Process and Labor Markets, and MPSE 009, Canada, Politics and Society. Semester 4 is the final stretch. MPSE 011, the European Union in World Affairs, MDI 009, Human Trafficking, an Overview, MDI 010, Law, Policies and Institutional Response to Human Trafficking and Migration, and finally MDIP 001, Project Work, 8 credits, classified by IGNOU as a project course rather than a theory course. So the direct answer is simple. MDIP 001 is an 8-credit semester 4 project. It is the single largest piece of independent work in the whole degree. And it is the one course you cannot pass by reading a help book the night before. Now let me clear 5 myths. Each of these has cost real students a rejected proposal or a wasted semester. Myth 1. MDIP 1, MDIP 01 and MDIP 001 are the same code. They are written casually across the internet as if they were interchangeable. But the official IGNOU course structure for MAMIDI lists the project as MDIP 001. This matters for a practical reason. The short form MDIP-01 circulates widely in connection with the postgraduate diploma in Migration and Diaspora, which IGNOU codes as PGDMIDI. That diploma is a separate, shorter program with a minimum duration of 12 months. When you write your proposal, your certificates, and your envelope, use the exact code printed in your own MAMIDI program guide. Myth 2. And this is the most useful thing in this video. Students believe the project starts in semester 4. It does not. It starts in semester 3, inside MSO 002, Research Methodologies and Methods. Look at how IGNOU has designed this. MSO 002 is an 8-credit course, exactly the same weight as the project itself. It teaches approaches to understanding social reality, the philosophical foundations of social research, and the types, methods, and design of research. That is not general reading. That is the toolkit you are expected to apply in MDIP 001. Therefore, treat MSO 002 as your project workshop. While you study it, draft your research question, test whether data exists, and sketch your sampling plan. Students who do this walk into semester 4 with a proposal almost ready. Students who ignore it spend semester 4 learning methodology from scratch under deadline pressure. Myth 3. Many students believe a migration and diaspora project requires studying an overseas community, and that without foreign contacts the project is impossible. This is simply not true, and it stops good research before it starts. Migration is a two-sided process, and the home side is fully researchable from where you already live. Consider 6 settings: return migrants in your own district, left-behind households of current overseas workers, recruitment agents and pre-departure training centers, internal migrant corridors such as construction or brick kiln labor in your city, diaspora associations and cultural institutions inside India, and documented refugee or displaced settlements approached with proper permission. Myth 4. The project is not an opinion essay on immigration policy. A well-written argument about border policy, however passionate, is not a project. MDIP 001 expects a defined research problem, stated objectives, an identified sample or case, evidence you collected or systematically compiled, and analysis that answers your own objectives. Myth 5. Students search online for the official MDIP 001 project booklet and find nothing authoritative. Unlike some management and commerce programs, a separate MDIP 001 guidelines document is not widely circulated on the open web. Therefore, take your instructions from your MAMIDI program guide and from SOITS through your regional center, and treat every downloaded template as a rough reference only. Now, your supervisor. Every IGNOU project of this kind is done under a guide, and the guide's credentials are checked before your proposal is accepted. In general practice across IGNOU postgraduate projects, the supervisor should hold a postgraduate qualification in a relevant discipline, usually with a doctorate or substantial teaching or research experience. For migration and diaspora work, that means sociology, social work, political science, economics, anthropology, geography, development studies, or a closely related social science. 2 rules save students the most trouble. First, the signed biodata of your guide must be enclosed with the proposal. Proposals sent without complete, signed supervisor biodata are commonly returned without being considered. Second, a guide signature is consent to supervise. It is not university approval of your topic. Approval is a separate step. And one honest warning. You do not pay your academic supervisor for approving your topic. IGNOU has its own remuneration process for project guidance. Anyone demanding a personal fee in exchange for a signature is not following the system. For guide eligibility in full detail, see our dedicated IGNOU project guide and supervisor video, linked below. Next, the decision that shapes everything else, your topic. A strong MAMIDI topic passes 7 tests. 1. It clearly belongs to migration or diaspora studies, not to general sociology. 2. The population is reachable within traveling distance. 3. The sample size is realistic for one student in one semester. 4. The variables are observable and measurable. 5. Secondary data or literature exists to anchor it. 6. It is narrow enough to finish. 7. Your supervisor has genuine expertise in that area. Let me show you the narrowing funnel with the example we will use throughout this video. Start with a broad interest, remittances. That is a subject, not a topic. It is far too wide to research. Now add 3 specifics. A specific population, families of Gulf return migrants. A specific place, Kollam district in Kerala. And a specific relationship, how remittance money is used and who decides how it is spent. That gives a definitive title. A study of remittance utilization and household decision-making among families of Gulf return migrants in Kollam district, Kerala. Notice what changed. The population is countable, the place is fixed, and the relationship can actually be measured. From that title, the objectives write themselves. Objective 1. To examine the pattern of remittance utilization across household expenditure categories. Objective 2. To identify who takes financial decisions in the household after the migrants return. Objective 3. To assess the change in women's participation in household financial decisions. Objective 4. To suggest measures for productive remittance use. Every objective begins with an action verb: examine, identify, assess, suggest. Each one can be answered with data you will actually collect. 3 to 5 objectives is a healthy range. Vague objectives are the most common reason a proposal comes back for revision. For topic selection technique across programs, see our dedicated IGNOU project topic selection video. Here we stay with what makes a topic specifically defensible in migration and diaspora studies. So what themes actually work for MDIP 001? Labor migration and working conditions, remittances and household economy, return migration and reintegration, gender and migration, drawing on MDIE 001, diaspora identity, language and cultural practice, diaspora philanthropy and homeland investment, student mobility and brain drain, migration and health or education access, refugee and displacement studies, and trafficking and safe migration, connected to MDI 009 and MDI 010. Now, methodology. This is where MSO 002 pays you back. You have 3 broad choices. A quantitative design, using a structured household survey to produce numbers you can tabulate. A qualitative design, using in-depth interviews and case histories to understand meaning and experience. Or a mixed methods design, combining a survey with a smaller set of detailed interviews. For migration research specifically, certain tools are unusually well suited. The household schedule, because migration effects are felt at household level, not individual level. The migration life history interview, which traces a person from decision to departure to return. Snowball sampling, because migrant families often know other migrant families and are otherwise hard to locate. And the case study, which suits diaspora institutions and associations. Your secondary data should be equally serious. Census of India migration tables, Ministry of External Affairs and Immigration clearance data, state-level migration surveys where they exist, International Labour Organization and International Organization for Migration reports, World Bank remittance statistics, Panchayat and municipal records, and peer-reviewed migration journals, several of which are available through IGNOU's own digital repository. Write your sampling plan explicitly. For our column study, a workable plan is 60 return migrant households, selected through snowball sampling across 3 panchayats, supported by 10 in-depth interviews with returned migrants and their spouses. State the number, the method, and the justification. Evaluators look for exactly this. Now ethics, which matters more in this field than in almost any other IGNOU project. You are often interviewing people in vulnerable positions. Follow 5 rules. Take informed consent and explain that participation is voluntary. Anonymize names and use codes rather than real identities in your report. Never record or publish immigration status, visa details, or documentation problems in an identifiable way. Handle trafficking, exploitation, and abuse topics with extreme care. And never re-interview a distressed respondent for extra detail. And do not pay respondents for answers, because paid answers are unreliable answers. Add a short ethics paragraph to your methodology chapter stating exactly how consent and anonymity were handled. It takes 10 lines and it visibly raises the academic quality of your report. Your synopsis is the gateway. For MDIP 001, it typically carries the title, an introduction and rationale, a review of literature, your objectives, the research methodology and sampling plan, the scope and limitations, a chapter plan and a reference list, together with the approval proforma and your guide's signed biodata. 2 disciplines here. Do not collect a single questionnaire before your proposal is approved, because data gathered under an unapproved topic can be rejected, and keep a clean copy of the approved synopsis because it must be bound inside the final report. For synopsis writing in full depth, see our dedicated IGNOU synopsis video. Now the report itself. An 8-credit project is a substantial document, and it follows a recognizable academic shape. The preliminary pages come first. Title page with your name, enrollment number, program, course code, and supervisor's name. The supervisor's certificate. The certificate of originality, signed and dated by both you and your guide. Acknowledgements. A detailed table of contents with page numbers, and lists of tables and figures. Chapter 1 is the introduction. Set the migration context, state the research problem, give your objectives, explain the significance of the study, and define the scope. In our column example, this is where you establish why Kerala's Gulf migration corridor is worth studying at household level. Chapter 2 is the review of literature. Move from international migration theory to Indian migration research, to studies on remittances and household decision-making, and end by naming the specific gap your study fills. A literature review that does not end in a gap statement is only a summary. Chapter 3 is research methodology. Your research design, universe and study area, sampling method and size, tools of data collection, sources of secondary data, your ethics statement, and the honest limitations of your study. Chapter 4 is data analysis and interpretation, and this is where marks are won or lost. Present tables and charts, then interpret them in words. A table without interpretation earns nothing. Organize this chapter objective by objective so the evaluator can see each research objective being answered in turn. Chapter 5 gives your findings, conclusion, and suggestions. Summarize what you found, connect it back to the literature, offer practical suggestions, and indicate scope for further research. After that come your references in a consistent style such as APA, and then the appendices. which carry your questionnaire or interview schedule and any raw tables. On formatting, follow the standard IGNOU project convention. A4 paper, a clean serif or standard academic typeface, generous spacing, consistent margins, continuous page numbering, and proper binding. For the complete format standard, see our dedicated IGNOU project format video, linked in the description. Now submission. Under the standard IGNOU postgraduate project procedure, the project report is submitted in original, typed in a bound volume, to the Registrar, Student Evaluation Division, IGNOU, Maidangari, New Delhi, 110068, by registered or speed post or by hand. Let me give you a realistic timeline because poor scheduling ruins more projects than poor writing. During Semester 3, while studying MSO 002, fix your broad area, confirm that your population is reachable, and identify your supervisor. In the first month of Semester 4, finalize the title and objectives and submit the proposal for approval. Then, in Month 2, once approval is in hand, build your tools and begin fieldwork. Month 3 is for completing data collection and tabulating it. Month 4 is for writing chapters 1 to 3, and Month 5 for chapters 4 and 5. Keep the final 2 to 3 weeks for corrections, certificates, binding, and dispatch. Notice that approval sits at the very front, because nothing after it can legitimately begin until it is done. Before you bind, check 4 enclosures: the approved project proposal, bound in and not merely stapled, the signed biodata of your supervisor, the certificate of originality signed by both of you, and any receipt your session requires. Reports received without these documents are commonly returned for compliance, which costs you an entire evaluation cycle. Write the course code prominently on the envelope, in the form used by your program guide, so the Student Evaluation Division can sort it correctly. Keep your postal receipt, and if you submit by hand, insist on an acknowledgement. Confirm your submission route and last date for the current session on ignou.ac.in, because routes and deadlines are revised from time to time. Submission mechanics in full detail are covered in our dedicated IGNOU project submission video. After submission comes evaluation, and usually a Viva Voce. Expect questions such as why did you choose this migration corridor? How did you locate your respondents? What does your data actually show? And what surprised you? Answer from your own fieldwork. A student who genuinely did the work is immediately recognizable. Our dedicated IGNOU Project Viva video covers preparation in depth. Here are the mistakes that most often sink in MDIP 001 project. Writing an essay instead of a study. Starting data collection before approval. Choosing a diaspora community you cannot actually reach. Objectives that no data can answer. Tables with no interpretation. Copied literature reviews. Missing certificates. And leaving the whole project to the last 2 months of Semester 4. Now the judgment question. Is MAMIDI worth it? And is the degree valid for jobs? Yes. It is a regular IGNOU postgraduate degree from a recognized central university. And IGNOU degrees are treated on par with those of conventional universities for employment and higher study. Where it leads is qualitative, not guaranteed. Migration and diaspora expertise is relevant to research organizations, non-governmental organizations working with migrant labor, international agencies, policy and think tank roles, journalism, and further study towards an MPhil or PhD. The program itself names government, foreign trade, United Nations organizations, embassies, external ministries, and diaspora organizations as its target professional field. Your project is the single strongest evidence you can show because it proves you can design and complete original field research. A few quick answers. How many credits is MDIP 001? 8 credits in Semester 4. Can I do it on internal migration within India? Yes, internal migration is fully within scope. Do I need to travel abroad? No. Is the topic given by IGNOU? No, you choose it and get it approved. Can I use only secondary data? Discuss it with your guide because primary fieldwork is generally expected in this field. And, is MSO 002 related to the project? Very closely, it is your methodology foundation. To recap, MDIP 001 is an 8-credit semester 4 project inside the 80-credit MAMIDI program at SOITS. Begin it during MSO 002. Choose a reachable, measurable migration question. Get approval before you collect anything. Write 5 clean chapters. Bind every certificate. And verify every date on ignou.ac.in. For free formats, samples and step-by-step help, visit ignouproject.com. Subscribe to Shri Chakradhar Education for the rest of this project series. This is BK Sani. All the best with your research.